Listen close, we rise up from the ashes, digging for the truth, breaking old habits. We marching with the nesters, they laid the foundation, passed down revelation, sparked our motivation in a world of facades. We peeling back the layers. Truth is the weapon that cuts through all the fakers. Phonets in our chest, reborn from deception. Eyes wide open, no room for misdirection. Every step we take, we honor the connection between past and present, forging our resurrection. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently, we'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. We cultivate vision, planting seeds of awareness, challenge the narrative, break out of the harness, digging deep for knowledge. Unearthing the hidden. Our minds are the soil where the future is written, no longer confined by the scripts they prescribe. We write our own story, let the real one subscribe. One voice becomes many, together we rally. Freedom's not a concept, it's a move and a tally. By case, we break the cage. Thought by thought, we shift the stage. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently, we'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. Rise up, speak out, watch the new world breathe.
Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
And here we are. Welcome to Phoenix Talks. I'm your host, Phoenix, today, and I had a little excerpt up there just so everyone knows coming in. Please hit that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. And I said, welcome to Phoenix Talks, where we rise above assumptions. We ignore the rumors. We stay curious and focused and think with open minds, because every question matters. Every angle is welcome. Every thought process is welcome, and nothing is off limits. If this is you, welcome. You have found your home. I appreciate every single one of you. If you just come in and hit the like button, thumbs up, subscribe, like, whatever you want to do, I greatly appreciate it. Yesterday, we had such a fantastic live. I'm going to piggyback off of a couple of updates because you guys are freaking amazing. I had so many emails, so many text messages, and, it's crazy how we ask for help and help arrives. So I've entitled this one today is Ouch, because honestly, a lot of people are going to be feeling it today. So I want to welcome every single one of you in as I go down through the comments. Hello, Caleb. Welcome in. Again, Thank you, everyone. Once again, we have the pleasure of Phoenix as your hostess. Please remember to feel free and click that thumbs up icon on your way in. I greatly appreciate that, Caleb. You are such a fabulous, wholesome mod. I thank you for your time and your energy. As you can see, tonight's live is titled Ouch, because feelings are definitely going to get hurt. Well, we're not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. We're just presenting facts, evidence, sleuthing, super sleuthing, whatever you want to call it. We are looking at this case from a perspective of pure speculation. Anything that we share is publicly available until they put it private. And remember, personal interpretation and speculation is all of the user. We are here on our own free will, and we do have free speech. So remember that. Nona Robin, welcome in. Donna Rosa, good to see ya. Kat's Girl, welcome in. Rebecca, hey. Marissa, I hope you're doing very well. Dina, welcome in. Christine, hello. Lulu Bell, good to see you this evening. I love it. Bring them all in. Everybody come on in. And, I get a lot of messages. I don't say much. I'm on your lives. But hey, chat, I'm supposed to be working. Well, Bunny, come on in. People who are working, listening in, riding on their way home, listening in from the car, whatever you are doing right now, let's make sure you're being safe, especially if you are driving out there. Love you, Phoenix. You are so awesome. Thank you, 1-1. Appreciate you. Really do. And Joey, welcome in. Welcome in all. I am so glad you're here. So I've got something for you today, and I hope that you do enjoy this live. Streaming is not an easy thing to do, y'all. It is not. So one thing that I do request of you, which I hardly ever make a request, is can you share one live that I've done this week with someone or repost it? Because it really helps the algorithm, but it also helps get the word out that there are people like myself sharing facts, evidence, truth, and are questioning the narrative. Like I said in my opening statement, if you are not questioning things, this may not be the live for you. I mean, honestly, how many of you have come to the stream thinking Brian Kohberger was 100% guilty and learning something new and questioning, wait a minute, what did I just read? What did I just see? What did I just hear? I mean, it's very interesting. And I've got a lot to bring you today. Lot. So, one thing I will say is there's a lot of grumbling out on the road, out on the streets of TikTok. I want some of your pumpkin muffins. Now you got me. They are delicious and they're so easy to make. Go to the Loaf and Home TikTok page or my YouTube. I do have a Loaf and Home. I just started that up and you can go and look at that. I called the bank today to figure out my online banking. I said to that woman, "Is your name Phoenix?" She sounded just like you. Oh my gosh. That is funny. No, I do not work at a bank. I don't know if I'd ever work at a bank, but no, I don't work at a bank. But I did have to spend 45 minutes today on the phone with the VA, and I felt so freaking stupid. So I filled out a form, and they got it. And the lady on the phone, I said, "Well, how long do you think this is going to take? Because, sometimes it's instant." And I said, "And sometimes it takes 2 weeks to a month. So what do you think?" She said, "Unfortunately, because of the shutdown, we are so far behind." And I didn't even think for 1 second that that they were affected. How ignorant of me to even assume that it didn't affect them. And I thought to myself, what was I even thinking? I was so embarrassed. And do you know the first lady who I talked to for almost 20 minutes? She understood what I was asking. And she said, "I just want to applaud you for being a parent of a special needs child slash adult legally." And she said, I'm a special needs adult and I've been working for the VA for 6 years, and they told me that I may never be able to hold a job. And this is my first job, and I love my job. And I was like, wow, okay, you give me a little bit of hope here, a little bit of hope. And I said, I so appreciate you today. You have no idea. So I was very humbled today, very enlightened that I'm not the only one going through this process. And if you are out there going through anything really hard in your life right now, I want to tell you this is just temporary. It is only temporary. This season will come to pass, and you'll look back and you'll think, wow, I was humbled, or I learned something new from this experience. Because I will tell you, it's going to hit the pocketbook, and I'm not going to be ready for that one. I really am not. So I don't know if you are aware, I am a veteran. I do have a son who just turned legally 18, but because he's still going through school and has special needs, there are special programs that he qualifies for. I filled out all the paperwork, and with the government shutdown, you guys are going to flip when I tell you his doctor's appointments are not covered until they resolve this issue, which I have to pay out of pocket. And so are all his medications, which some of these medications run in the thousands of dollars. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do it. By the grace of God, I know that everything will work out perfectly. I know that everything will work out. So when you think about the struggles that you're going through, you are not alone. And I just know that I'm going to look back on this experience and I'm going to be like, okay, it'll all work out. So, real quick, we're going to do a speed round. I know a lot of people of you absolutely love that speed round yesterday and warming up before we get into what we're going to talk about. But don't be confused. There is two lives, one for those on cell phones and one for those that are on the laptop, computer, tablet. And that is something that StreamYard is pushing out to the creators. And since I'm using StreamYard, it's going to look like there's two chats. So if you want to get off your phone and jump into the chat with the laptop or your computer, if you have the ability, that I tried to turn it off. It wouldn't let me turn it off this live, but I'm going to go back in and change my settings. So let's do this. I'm going to ask you 5 questions today real quick to do a speed round, and then we'll get into the Idaho 4. So, and we're going to follow up with some answers and some questions and some dynamic information today. You're going to not want to miss this. I love it. It's something that I love talking about. So, if you would have to pick, here we go. 1, detective hat or fireball power for the day. Which one? Detective hat or fireball power? Next one. One word to describe your energy right now. One word to describe your energy right now. Make sure you hit that thumbs button. The thumbs up button if you pop in here. If Phoenix Talks had a mascot, what animal would it be? I see some fireballs coming in. Detective hat, fireballs, tired, fireball, meh. I like that one. Detective hat. Rebecca says fireball, fireball, detective hat, fireball, Jackie. Gotcha. Snooper, super nice guys. Detective hat. Invigorating. I love it. A jaguar. A koala bear. A fire breathing dragon, says Nona. Tired. Okay, which matters more in an investigation? Timeline or motive? Phoenix bird, of course, Holly sees. Good to see you, Holly. Good to see you guys. Which matters more in an investigation? Timeline or motive? A mama bear. Timeline. Yes, 1-1. Timeline. Whoop, whoop. Timeline, Fireball. Amanda, welcome back, honey. Timeline, Jackie says. Donna Rosa says timeline. Cat's girl, timeline. All right, 2 more. What's more telling, body language or digital footprints? What's more telling, body language or digital footprints? Yep, Fireball. What's up, everyone? Good to see you, Nobody's NBA. Body language. Body language, body language. I would have to agree, body language. Definite hat, tired lion, timeline, digital footprint. I love that, Jennifer. Thanks for jumping in here. Body language. Nona says digital footprints. Body language, wanting body language, body language. All right, we got a lot of body language. Last one. What would you rather see? Timeline deep dive or witness video and audio? Timeline deep dive or witness recap? Witness audio video. Hey, good to see you, Fireball. Hope you're well. A different type of live tonight. No, we're getting into it. We're just starting a round of beginning. Timeline deep dive. Okay. Witness recap. Witness video and audio. Witness recap since the timeline sucks. Amanda, you got a valid point. Witness audio, video, both. Yeah, I would love both too. Both. Motive. Timeline deep dive. Timeline deep dive. All right. Well, we can get into a timeline deep dive, especially, and if you want to start it right now, Eric Gower. Remember the video that I shared with you the other day with Eric Gower? Eric Gower said that he had a 213 pickup at John's Alley. Drop a 1 if you all remember that. A 213 pickup at John's Alley. We'll start here tonight, only because it's something that I had on my schedule. So Eric Gower basically said in his interview that I shared the other night that he had a 213 pickup, which I thought, scratching my head, sounded off. Because as I remember in the court documents, and let me grab that because I wanted to see for myself. Here we go. It was motion in limine text and 911 call. Here it is. Now, something that didn't sit right with me is 213, and I will, let me get the actual document right here and share this on my screen. This was the state's, let me see if this will pop in here. Here we go. Come on. Come on, share it, share it, share it. I don't know, it's not sharing, but here, I'll screenshot it and throw it up here. This was the state's reply to, let's see if it'll pop up. All right, cool. Here we go. Kind of slowed it down. It's slow today. Exactly. He said that he got a text at 2:13 to pick someone up, but he didn't end up going. That's the same exact time that Dylan texted him. Absolutely, Michelle Davis. Absolutely. Was that Showalter? And then he decided to walk home? What in the world is up with that? Did nobody catch that? because yesterday when I said, wait a minute, DM texted the Uber driver, Eric Gower, inquiring if he was driving. And this is after they were all upstairs, allegedly, per Dylan, all upstairs, and Kaylee was changing for bed. Now, and that's also around the same time that Bethany and Maddie was said to take Murphy out. So if Bethany and Maddie were outside, the only person in the house at that time with DM was Kaylee. And Kaylee was in her bedroom, allegedly, and Dylan went back downstairs. And so if she is texting Eric Gower about going out and maybe getting food because she said that she was hungry, then at 2:13, Eric Gower to DN confirmed he was driving. Now, we don't know what was said because that was not released. It was not released. And so I don't know if it was 3:10 because remember what she said about the time change. And remember, folks, I've been saying, do we even have the right weekend? Do we even know what happened this weekend, or was it the weekend prior because of the Stacy Chapin comment on the car crash that was off I-5 that took in a long time for them to get there? It was Parents' Weekend the weekend before, the big game the weekend before. All the trailers were in town, and there were some statements involving an altercation at a parent's trailer. And so I was wondering if this would actually be the weekend before, when the time had not changed yet, because this case is really all over the map. Timeline does not add up. It doesn't add up. The church bells, I had about a 20-minute conversation with the pastor at the church, and he explained to me how the bells work. But Dylan is the one that kept saying, well, it would be off because the time change is different in Moscow than in Boise. And it is, in fact, it is an hour behind. But if she was at home when this happened, it would be this exact time. If she was in Moscow, then this is the right time, 2:13. And remember, this is the state's testimony. This is the state's document. This is what they uncovered. This is what they got off the phones. Now, I don't know if they got EG's phone, because the last person to see them alive, Kaylee and Maddie, and drop them off outside of the house roommates was, in fact, Eric Gower. So why did they not take his phone? Because he allegedly pulled over to clean up Maddie's mess in the back seat and yada, yada, yada. But you have to realize at 2:13, he texted Dylan confirming he was driving. Was Dylan the pickup at John's Alley? Did she text him, hey, I'm hungry, you driving, can you get me to the grub truck? The grub truck was closing. They closed at 2:30 a.m. And remember, they still had their live stream up at 3:30, which is the largest time that it was viewed on Twitch. 3:30, which I've always thought that was odd. And if you haven't seen my video on the streets of TikTok, you can go over there and look at that grub truck video. I did a whole video. Yes, I did call, and I did ask specifically how the church bells ring, and I'll explain it to you once again. So I was told that the bells ring on the hour. So if it rings once, it's 1 a.m. And if it rings twice, ding, ding, it's 2 a.m., 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, every half hour, the church bells do ring one time. So if you go through and listen to Linda Lane audio, some of those church bells are off by seconds, and I don't know if they're really off an hour unless those videos have been edited for that specific confusion. I'm just being honest. Those are not official released videos. I don't know who's released those videos, but we still don't know the timeline. Now, I know the timeline on the body cams are correct because I looked at every single sunset, and in the times when they're outside, when the sun is setting and the sun actually sets in the background, you can actually see the true time. And those are the only videos that you can see the accurate time. So I don't know if those bells are correct or not, because who edited those Linda Lane videos? I think we can all agree that they were edited. Now, it's only the time that they stayed streaming. That is the only time. And you know what? Since we're talking about that, let me go grab my video, and I'm going to show you, because I called Twitch. Yes, I did. And I wanted to see if these numbers were correct. And they told me there's no way that anyone can actually alter these videos that are streamed. They can only edit, clip, or delete the videos. And it's kind of a long way down. So give me 1 second. You can delete them. You can clip them. You can edit. You cannot edit the stats. You can only edit the stream. Jackie is screaming, why are you asking for screenshots? Screenshots of text from Kaylee. Are you talking about perhaps screenshots from Eric Gower? I'm curious. So why are they only allowing Eric Gower to send screenshots when in fact he was the last person to see them alive? The last person. The sunset was what I wanted DA to film. Ah, gotcha. Okay, so Tycoon, you can go back all the way to, the almanac, and you can see when the sun was setting. You can definitely do that. Let me see if I can find this TikTok video. Twitch. Idaho 4. I should have a complete link file. Where did it go? Shoot. Let me see. Twitch stream. Do I have that on my YouTube? Let me take a look real quick. I'm wondering if I do. It would probably be under shorts. It was just a quick stream about Twitch. Dang it, I hate when this happens. Twitch. Okay, I'm about to screen. I guess I didn't put it on there. All right, I'm going to have to find it, and then I'll repost it. So anyways, the stats on the Twitch stream, the highest time view watching was like 350 something people on the stream at 3 a.m. Wild. Because if no one was watching that stream, and I think Birdie and I did where you can see the quadrant of the stream cut out, and Joe Woodall, the guy inside the grub truck, he says, oh great, they've taken kind of over the other screen, you can't see me, but I think that he could possibly see the stream, and he was commenting on that stream, which blew my mind, because I was like, wait a minute. If he is watching the other stream, what in fact was he watching at the time? Okay, so we have a little discrepancy. And in regards to the evidence, why did they not take Eric Gower's phone and confirm everything that he was saying rather than just, okay, we'll take your word for it, send us some screenshots? And because of the fact that when he was sitting there at the time he was being interviewed, guys, he says, well, I'll send you the screenshots. And the police officer, the detective, said, well, I haven't got your information yet. I haven't got the text yet. Did you send them? And then he said, well, sometimes, there's only one or two bars and yada, 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 that he did not get them while he was sitting there, which is quite interesting that they didn't ask him for anything more than just some screenshots. Blew my mind. Okay, so DM allegedly text EG at 2:10, and then 2:13 he acknowledges her, but he never says her name, y'all. He never says her name. They never bleeped out Dylan's name that I'm aware of. And it's right. Screenshots, you're right. They can be altered, edited, whatever. And if he did not receive those screenshots before he left, I would be seriously skeptical, because he's going to leave there and probably could, allegedly, right? Anybody could do that. Anybody could edit screenshots, even on the fly. I'm just saying. I mean, Twitch stream for that night. Okay, let me grab this. This is a huge Twitch TV grub truck. Now didn't they scale this back? I think they did. I think they edited this because the stream, here it is. I found the video. Hold on. Let me do this.
Which you can see that they have on their website that they close at 2:30 a.m., which is quite interesting, because when you go look at the stats, yes, you can see the stats, and you can actually see when the most people were chatting. So remember, they close at 2:30 in the morning, but when you go down to their stats and you look at all the information, it does not make sense. The peak time that the most chatters were there will be between 2:30 and 3. But wait, didn't they close at 2:30? But the stream was still going? And the amount of people chatting at that exact time, don't you think that's a little strange? I mean, it is to me, but maybe we're looking into something we probably should have never went down. But it is quite obvious that 283 chatters were available and 203 average during those times on a Saturday night when closed. What was that stream being used for then if they weren't open and they weren't recording and no one was at the truck eating? I don't know. Leave your drop your comments, leave your thoughts, and as always and every day, be well. Well, let's talk about this grub truck Twitch. You can see that they have on their...
Okay, so that was the actual video from the stats that I grabbed right away when this became really popular, a very popular issue. And I mean, I don't understand how all those people, and I did look at the stats before, all those people that night on the 13th, that is November the 13th right here, early morning, and that stream started at 11:58. That was Pacific Standard Time, 11:58. And it was 4.6 hours. So that's 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 58, 358, 3, 4. So that would be 0.6. That would be about 4:02 that it ended. So I think it's really odd that the peak time, in my humble opinion, was around 3:30 something a.m. because it'll go on to show you the actual stats. So don't be shocked about the 2 lives. Like I said before, it ended at 3:35. That's when it ended. Those stats ended at 3:35. So the biggest follower gain was right around that 2, between, I would probably say between 2 a.m. and 2:30-ish, somewhere around there, which is kind of really weird. Yeah, the Carbonaro effect. And it tells you at 3:30 a.m. how many viewers were watching the grub truck when it was actually closed. And, I hear this comment a lot. Totally hear that. The secret ingredient, it was peanut butter. It was peanut butter. Okay, so don't be confused, beautiful broken woman. There are 2 streams going on. It's something with stream, like I explained in the beginning. And if you want to join on your tablet or your phone, it just gives you 2 options. It's a different layout. And I will throw the comments on the stage so that other people can actually see your comments. And that. So let's get into this. I know we talked a little bit about yesterday, Eric Gower. We reviewed that video, follow-up questions. And then one more thing that I wanted to share is this ouch. Okay. So we talked a little bit about the shoes that Johnson was wearing, Hunter Johnson. And the only thing, I looked everywhere for shoes, guys. I saw all kinds of different shoes. People were saying that Dylan was wearing Doc Martens, or, Ethan wore Doc Martens, and it could have been somebody running up and down Doc Martens, this and that. So I looked everywhere. And this is factually where, I know a lot of people are still confused. This is actually where Emily and Josie were living at the time, right in this house that is, their backyard faces 1122 backyard, side yard, whatever you want to say. Okay. This is the 118, public information. And this is the house that had the security camera with the stairs up it. That's 1112. And if you look at this picture, you can actually see Frat Row in the background. You can actually see the whites a little bit, and then the other apartments that are over there. This is not Photoshop. This is a publicly available picture. You can go out and look on it on Instagram. But there is something else. The only thing that I came to the conclusion is that, a lot of people were saying those shoes look a little small for Hunter's feet. Where were his shoes? Now, if Hunter was staying right at this house with Emily, there's not a long distance to go to get to 1122. You walk out that front door, right out this front door, and you walk to the side. It's probably less than 50, I would say 50 yards away from their backyard to the 1122 backyard. Okay. But the only thing that I found that was very interesting was this one video that Xana was in and Emily Allant was in. And she is the only one that I came close to feet pictures. Like, I've been looking all over, right? Not that I wanted to, but I was just very curious in feet pictures, okay? Because I wanted to see who was wearing what. And this is the closest that I got, and you can watch the video. There's no sound, by the way. That was the closest shoe that I could find that potentially could be it. But in my humble opinion, those look like Birkenstocks. They don't look like the Vans that had the bottom. Now, we don't know whose shoes these were, but as a woman, I'm no shoe expert. I can be a shoe snob, But those shoes do not look like those are Hunter's shoes. Now, we know that in many of the interviews, the detectives asked people to roll up their sleeves, looked at their arms, looked at their hands, said they were good to go, and potentially didn't have any marks on themselves. And a lot of people were cleared very quickly because if you notice the detectives, they did ask Eric Gower to lift to let me see your hands and let me see your arms because they were looking for someone who factually was injured at the scene of the crime. They were actually looking for somebody who was injured. So let me go back through some of these comments. Yeah, they should have disclosed that they were actually that it was in pasta. They could die from allergic reaction. Absolutely. Did the cops lug the grub truck container? Now, somebody asked me about this. I don't see it in evidence. Now, mind you, in my humble opinion, there are thousands of pages of reports missing. There are thousands of pictures that are missing. They didn't give us the whole documents. I don't think they ever will. And in my humble opinion, in an investigation like this, I'm sure that there are a lot more things that are missing. A lot more things. I did get a message back from the laboratory. I did get a uh, very lengthy email from the laboratory after I requested what I did. And I will share that with you also so you can see that request. This was from the ISP. I had put a request in, and I will share that and read it. It's going to be small on the screen. But this is exactly what they told me. Okay. I swear. Okay, this was just received at 10:31 this morning. Dear Phoenix Talks Media, the Idaho State Police received a public records request from you on 10/10/2025, and here it is 11/18. Your request mention, now this is very detailed. I was very, very specific. And it's weird that we got these pictures when we did because they release these not probably a couple weeks after I asked for them, and they were released to the public on the website. It said, Dear Public Records Custodian, per Idaho, yada, 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 I requested all copies of reports, evidence, documentation, communications related to the knife sheath, which we did. We got text messages, right? Crime scene reports, notes, logs of discovery, collection, transfer of the knife sheath, which we did. We received everything that I asked for. And this is what they did. They said this letter is to clarify what information that you're seeking from the Idaho police. We release the crime scene processing reports, notes, logs, every discovery, collection, transfer of the knife sheath. These records have been released on this public website. Okay. So if you go, the easiest way for me to get there is Justice for All, FOURALL. And you go down to Brian Kohberger documents. There's a little link for ISP. You click on those documents and you can see everything that I'm talking about. And these specific documents, they were released on 10/31/2025. Okay. This was let me see. I requested it on 10/10. It was almost 20 something days after I asked for this document. Let me show you on my screen. This was the factual date that they released this info. Let me pull it up. Right here. So if you look right down here on 10/31, I remember it was Halloween. They released this document, the forensics of everything that is in my request right here. So they didn't charge me anything basically, but they gave me everything that I asked for except for the crime scene records, because they did say in another email that some of it was privately held, or let me grab my email and I'll tell you exactly what they said. Privately clarification. Pursuant to Public Records Act, there are some private, it's basically the statute is, basically that there are some things that are private that they won't release. And that was the actual finding of the knife sheath in Maddie's bedroom on the blanket. Okay, that's what I still don't have. Although they released everything else, they said a portion of this material is exempt from release because under the Privacy Act that they have. But see, Idaho State Police is not under that protection order. They could have released it, but now they are saying basically it's not going to be requested. It's not going to be released, even though requested, because there is some privacy. But they did give us everything else that I requested. They gave us the chain of custody. They gave us pictures. They gave us the forensic documents. They gave her a text of the actual FBI sending it that his DNA was not on. There was no DNA on the, well, there was no, how did he say it? There was no DNA on the sheath. That's how it was said. The text messages said there was no prints found on the sheath, just the DNA. No fingerprints, but just DNA. Now, let me ask you, if they could not find any fingerprints of his on the little snap, no fingerprints on the sheath, how could he have unsnapped or put that sheath on or carry it? How could he, the person who did this, and I'm not saying it was Kohberger, I'm just saying, how could this unaliver, this murderer, this killer, open the snap without touching the sheath? I mean, is that possible? I don't have a weapon like this. I believe in concealed carry. If you've got a permit, I open carry. I also have a purse. I have a permit. I'm not opposed to using my Second Amendment rights, but you got to know how to use it and when to use it. But they did give us the chain of custody. They did. But remember, it was not valid. The lab manager noted that they got the package, but it wasn't sealed. The package wasn't labeled and it wasn't sealed. So they put a label on it and they sealed it. I remember that specific document. I believe that they should have probably noted it, and that should have been thrown out of evidence ASAP. And I'm sure that Anne knew there was no chain of custody because she asked over and over and over for that chain of custody. Absolutely ridiculous. It should have been, yep, it wasn't signed, it wasn't sealed, it should have been thrown out 100%. But do tell me, yeah, and I love going to the range. Tell me, how could someone, and I'll go back to my fun picture, how could someone carry a knife sheath, open that knife sheath, and never leave fingerprints? There were no fingerprints per the FBI. How is that possible? Not to leave fingerprints, but leave DNA on the button snap. That's like a miracle. 100% miracle. Because somebody's fingerprints would be all over that. And a tiny bit of blood splatter. Just a tiny little bit. And remember, the chemicals that they put on this knife sheath could have changed the color of the leather. That's the premise, speculation that we're going for. Just like Blue Star ruined any potential DNA on the jacket. I mean, we're talking about professionals, guys. Not Moscow. We're talking about ISP. We're talking about these guys, these lead detectives had been with the agency for a very long time. We're not talking about rookies. How could they make rookie moves in this investigation when they are supposed to be, I mean, by expectation, the experts? Another unknown, huge unknown. And it blows my mind that no one has caught any of this and said, wait a minute. Wait 1 minute here. Something is not right. Something is totally not right. Exactly. So here's another follow-up. Somebody messaged me and asked me for this. Amanda B, shout out, girlfriend. You sent this at the right time. This is exactly what I was looking for. And this comes from the annual reports from Moscow Police Department, which are public for everyone. And the challenge coin that we talked about yesterday. One of the highlights is that the Idaho 4 had a challenge coin. I talked a little bit about where they come from, why they're important. And this is what was said in the Moscow Annual Police Report. Throughout the year, our department remained under a non-dissemination order, which was by the court regarding the incident of the Idaho 4, the quadruple homicides. Encouragingly, our community has started the long process of healing, which has boosted by significant events that took place over the last year. A grand jury indictment obtained in May by the Latah County Prosecutor's Office, a challenge coin designed by our department to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the homicides, and the donation of the King Street residence in December. Wild. And that was from them specifically. Now, these challenge coins are really interesting because they not only signify the camaraderie, right? They also signify their involvement. 100%. I mean, how would you feel about getting a challenge coin? I mean, like I've said, I've gotten some challenge coins in my life. And ironically, I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? I received a challenge coin for losing 106 pounds in 2015 through a certain program that I was with. Now, that's something totally different than this tragedy at the University of Idaho. It does feel like symbolic. I mean, how would it make you feel to know that police officers are carrying this history in their pocket, like giving this horrible crime some power? a lot of people are saying money grab. They were looking for money. I mean, looking for a payday, a bag, all that stuff in this case. And they made foundations and all this kind of stuff. I agree. I mean, I was a little shocked to see some of these, money making business opportunities. Really shocked. I mean, how many of you were shocked when you started seeing a lot of these GoFundMes, challenge coins, books? I mean, the book was out pretty fast, in my humble opinion. I've given some challenge coins out for my means that you are a close friend or a family officer. Shh. I sent you a little fireball. I got that fireball. I am on fire over here. Trophies is a great word to sum it up. Yep. Look at the tulip industry. Yep. I used to buy tulips online and have them shipped. I don't think I'll be doing that anymore after reading about the tulip industry. And I love tulips. Yep. Tattoos. Yep. They got tattoos. Bottle rockets is disgusting. Taser. Green made a lot on his book on the crisis of, $9 trillion? 1, 2, 3. That's crazy. Wow. 9 billion. He shot off champagne bottle cork. Was in the street with panties. Dang, you hear a lot of stuff, Brian. I wish I had proof to back it up. I wish. They shot off a campaign. Yeah, probably. I mean, they were both in the road. Brian also celebrated New Year's indoors fireworks display. $1 billion industry. So let me show you someone, Amanda B, shout out. She just sent me these. And remember, Emily's statement and Emily's mother's statement said that Emily allowed the girls to come over to their house and take a shower and gave her some clothes, possibly. And look at her little shoes. Are those the same shoes? Maybe. I mean, let me get a closer up picture. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see. And do me a favor, if you just come to the stream, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Look at those shoes. They do look like slip-ons, and that does look like a V. I mean, it is a blurry picture, but it does look like that might be the same shoes, maybe, that Hunter Johnson was wearing. And I wonder if they, you know what, let me go to that interview and let me see if they are small when she's walking into that interview. Let's see if we can get a good shot. Okay, hold on one second. I got an idea. Let's do this. Let me share this with you. Let's look at her move her feet. Let's do that. Hold on. Let's see.
A police interview of surviving how it helped the investigation on early in the look.
Let's see if we can see this.
Welcome to Crime Fix. I mean,
oh, come on.
Frankly,
I just want to see the interview. Hold on, folks. I want to get to the
Moscow Police Department and interviewed by Detective Lance Mowry.
All right, y'all just saw that. Holy shit. I went to go take a drink of water and I just about freaking died. Oh my gosh. Let me play that back a little slower for you guys when she walked in. Let's see if I can see it. Oh, they look a little small on her too. I wonder what size her foot is. Bam. Let me go back just a hair.
Interviewed by Detective Lance Mowry.
Oh, they look, I wonder what size her shoe is. They look like the exact same shoes. If Dylan went over to Emily's and Hunter was in a hurry and wore those shoes, it's possible that these are someone else's shoes. What happened to Dylan's shoes? She left the house. She couldn't go back in. So somebody had to have let her borrow some shoes. 100%. What are your thoughts? Let's watch it again.
Dylan was taken to the Moscow Police Department and
Dylan was taken. Dylan was taken. The word she just used. Dylan was taken.
interviewed by Detective Lance Mowry.
So I think that somebody might have said something that you said. I think that maybe you it was.
Wow, that's interesting. Very interesting. It's weird, like when we go back and look at something and we notice different things.
Did you have, in the recent history, have anybody that you thought might have been stalking you, or that was just acting weird?
No, but one of the police officers that Kayla's outside
I'm like, move your head, Mowry.
taking Murphy out, and she saw a shadow.
Yep. Okay.
And then when Kaylee was at Winco, Xander was in the car. She noticed this guy was following her. She got what she's going, put it in the car, and she could see in her mirror that the guy was behind her in the car.
Okay.
So obviously he was trying to follow her. And then that was about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Now, this was the afternoon.
I just want to see the interview. Those have got to be the same ones.
Obviously, yes, the door is broken, but that could also be something else as well.
With the front door?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever find the back slider open or anything? Is that usually locked? What's the condition?
I mean, we're pretty good at locking it.
Okay.
I don't think we locked it last night.
And it sounds like the code's fairly well known to the front door by people.
I mean, only people that know us, random people would not know. But
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Because Hunter said he knew it.
Yeah, he does.
Obviously knew it because it sounded like she was going to move in with you guys,
Yeah.
possibly. Didn't sound like he knew it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did Kaylee ever say anything or report that weirdness to anybody else other than you guys?
No, because I mean, you can't. There's no proof,
Right.
I can't really do anything
So
about
I'm
it.
trying to watch her feet movement. I'm trying to see a very clear picture, but Mowry won't move his freaking head. Let me see if I can get a better picture. Well, that was pretty good. Hold on. There. Okay, bam, right there. That's a pretty good picture. Right there. All right. So, yeah. So we know that per Emily's mom, Emily, they let him come over and take a shower. So possibly these are someone's shoes. Highly possible. What do y'all think? Should we take a poll? Maybe that these are, in fact, the shoes. I mean, it's a great percentage, and we're just speculating, of course, but it's a high percentage that perhaps these could be the shoes that Hunter may have been wearing. and he let her use them, but looked too small on his feet. Very interesting. Totally interesting. So if you are new to my chat, new to the stream, we think very openly, very question orientated. So when you think, I'm going to say yes, that those are the same shoes. They definitely came from Emily. They came from somebody within that friend circle. I agree. Why did the neighbor say that Emily and Hunter left at 3 a.m.? I don't know. I honestly do not know the answer to that. I've read that in the witness reports. I don't know. I would have to say they most definitely, more than likely not, to be from this friend group. Hunter also said that he left, home, had it in his hand, and he was talking to the cops outside 2 a.m. Well, they said that they left his phone at home and Emily left hers in the car, which totally odd. Totally odd. Why would he be wearing those sandals? Did he spend the night? I don't know. Great freaking questions. And this is why I love you guys. You guys ask the best questions. Freaking awesome. So let me do this. Well, I leave you reeling with this one question about these shoes. Ouch. And they are possibly Vans with the diamond shaped pattern that was a latent print, which is just a partial print. Dylan had big feet. Well, so did Hunter. Y'all, Hunter had big feet. I mean, how big do you think his foot could have been? I'll show you some pictures and then you tell me how big this guy's foot is. Because I looked all over when someone said, oh, you know, so and so wore Doc Martens. I didn't see in any pictures Ethan wear any Doc Martens. I saw a lot of the girls in their friend group wearing them. So how big do you think? Look at the size of Hunter's shoes. Look at that size of that shoe. What size do you think he wears? In my humble opinion, it almost looks like a 13, 14. I mean, he's got huge feet, y'all. I think that's bigger than a 12, honestly. I mean, let me ask ChatGPT what size they think those shoes are. Let's see. I'm curious. Like I said, I'm no shoe expert, but what size do you think these shoes are? And yes, I was awarded in the military speed typing. Okay, so hold on one second. Based, I can't determine their high top sneakers. Likely men's. They would range anywhere between 9 and 12.5. So maybe you're right, Les. Maybe it is 12 or 12 plus, but it looks about 13 to me. 12 and a half, 13. Just an approximation based on proportion, stance, and shoe style. They asked if I had a full body view scale, a reference object, a ruler. No, that ain't gonna happen. Okay. That is funny. Okay, so this ought to be fun. This is going to be a topic that I love talking about since we're doing follow-up. Since we are talking about it here, I want to explain something as possible and as simple as can be and get your thoughts on this. Because in the forensic documents, I'm going to show you a sample and I'm going to try to explain this like a 5-year-old, like I would be explaining it to a 5-year-old. Now, some of you know my background is a classically trained naturopathic doctor, holistic, and my specialty was genetics. And I got started in 2009. That's when I finished. And part of my dissertation was in genetics. And when I started looking at the forensic documents, I knew exactly what they were looking for. And it's really interesting. Yep, yep. I agree, Caleb. I've noticed this myself. I've noticed this. It might be a little stress, worry. I think it's natural in trauma. Yeah, I think it's natural. So let me explain this. There are these like little boxes inside our bodies. And inside every person's body, we have tiny, tiny boxes called cells. Inside each box is an instruction book that tells our bodies how to grow. That book inside those cells is called DNA. So boys and girls have different stickers in their book, right? Now, I'm trying to explain this very easy so that you understand that. If the DNA came from a boy or if the DNA came from a girl, I don't have a box, I have a dong. I'm not talking about that. So a special sticker has a big name to it, and it's called amelogenin. And amelogenin is basically what they used in this forensic case to test DNA. So when you see amelogenin in here, that means that they took the DNA and they're looking at it. So boys have 2 stickers and girls have 1 sticker. So girls have the X sticker and boys have an X and a Y sticker. Okay? So do we see just X? Probably a girl. And do we see XY? Probably a boy. That's pretty easy, right? I mean, I'm trying to really, that made me spit my water out. Okay. I love it. Okay. So, how scientists use it is they basically say, let's pretend a scientist or a lab individual finds DNA on a cup, like the Keystone Light cups or the beer, right? The open cans of beer. And they look for amelogenin stickers. So they look and see if they can find an X and a Y. If they find that, then they say a boy used this cup. And if they see X, then they'll say a girl used this cup or drank this beer. Okay? Drank from this cup. But sometimes the Y sticker is hiding. What does that mean? Just like when you're a kid and you hide under the blankets, a scientist might say, I think this was a girl, and it actually could be a boy with a hidden Y sticker. I hope you're following me. If I can get you to drop a 1 or anything in the chat to let me know that you're with me. If you're not, tell me what it is, and I'll go back and explain it. And I'll say it one more time. Sometimes you have a Y sticker that's hiding. So like we play hide and seek, or you hide and you scare your spouse or play a prank on them. And so scientists might say, I think this is a girl, but it actually could be a boy with a hidden Y sticker. It's called dropout. But you don't need to say, dropout. And that's a technical term that some people use. So why is the hidden Y sticker? What does it do? Well, it basically determines if you're a boy or a girl. So sometimes the Y sticker is so small to see it under, DNA, it gets smudged or it doesn't show up. And scientists might say, well, I think it's a girl, but it actually can be a boy, but we can't see that Y sticker. Males only have 1 Y. Right. So how does this help crime scenes? Can anybody guess? Drop it in the chat. I'm going to put you guys right on the spot while I take a drink of water. So at a crime scene, why would that be so important? What could it be? Where did my water jug go? Dang it. So think about it. DNA on the beer cans, DNA on a doorknob, DNA on clothes, on the glove, on trash, on the floor. And when they test for this, they can figure out how many boys touch things, how many girls touch things, and whether the DNA came from a girl or boy, whether there might be extra people involved. Okay? And here's the simple takeaway from this explanation is that aminogenin is like checking a sticker in the DNA book to see if the person is a boy or a girl. Boys have XY and girls just have X. But if the Y sticker hides, it can confuse everything. Exactly, Carol. Exactly. They think it's a male, but it's a female. Or it is a male, but that sticker, that Y, hides. Okay? So that's where they get unknown male contributors. And that it could be by gender, but the Y sticker is hiding quite a few people. There is. I mean, you're a female, but there's that X sticker that hides. Maybe you have more of the traits that look like a female male, but then again, your genetics say you're female. And it could be one of those. It's a mixture. They can't find that to prove that you are a male. That sticker could be hiding. It could be actually turned around too to say that you are both, right? XY is a male, but you're actually look like a female. It can go both ways. So who are they looking for? A male or a female or both, right? Because they have 3 unknown DNA, and Anonymous Reckoning just said that. It's not fair the judge wouldn't let them use third-party defense when there are 3 unidentified DNA samples and even possibly a female. And they can't rule out the sex. It might be a mixture. Yep, we all start as female. What if you're a vampire like me? Oh, I don't know. Are you in Vampire Diaries? 3 unknown DNA. I have an idea, but not sure how to speak it appropriately. Well, you can try your best. Remember, we're very open-minded. We're just speculating, but I am going to get into something next. Okay? I am not starting any rumors. I am just telling you about the DNA that was found and what they used in forensics right here on this document, page 18 of 18, and how they came up with the DNA. Okay? We're not starting any rumors. What if a person who is gay likes females more male dominant and vice versa? There's a bunch of people out there like that. Absolutely. I mean, those traits, they can be really strong. But remember, females are just X, but that Y chromosome, that Y could be hiding and maybe too small to see. So if they say, oh, this definitely was a girl, it would only be X. So what they do is they take this genetic profile and all of these things on the left-hand side in this forensic documents, they are all genetic markers. And they use a company called Applied Biosystems. And this company develops technology to help them uncover the genetics along with the profile. And so they look at these and they say, okay, we're going to go ahead and, it's basically PCR, right? They go and they look at the capabilities of genome pattern, genome mapping, and they come up with these, genes that could possibly be in the DNA at the crime scene. And what they basically do is, in this process, they can amplify this DNA. Okay. And with a single copy, they can detect and amplify it as many times as they want. Now, the more you amplify DNA, the more likely that your DNA may look like my DNA, the more that my DNA may look like yours. And then it's like a base DNA. And this is probably, in my humble opinion, how they multiplex, amplified, and they determined in this genotyping in the genome mapper that they use, how they got to the conclusion is if they were male or female. And I think, in my humble opinion, somebody messed up. In genotyping, there can be a lot of room for error. And I believe this is exactly what Ann Taylor was trying to tell the court, that you can't be accurate with this type of science. And on my humble opinion, technology is not always accurate. There's always room for error, no matter what. There's always room for error. And I've seen enough technology in my lifetime, not that I'm like older than the hills, but I've seen enough technology. We've seen enough today that can be manipulated. It can be edited. It can be, if they can edit genes and use CRISPR technology to clone sheep, to clone dinosaurs, to clone whatever, they can manipulate this and they can edit it and slice it and splice it and dice it, and they can come up with anything. Okay? In my humble opinion. That's why, why can't they multiply what's left? It's very difficult. I can't wait to see a woolly mammoth. That's like my daughter, okay, in the 6th grade, she came home and said, Mom, do you realize that we are ancestors to the monkeys? And I look at her and I think she's lost her mind. This is before I pulled them out of public school and sent them to private, then homeschooled them. I told her, you mean dinosaurs aren't real? Haha, Amanda. Okay. I specifically told her, when was the last time in her 11 years that she saw a monkey turn into a human? Oh, the principal and I had it out. We had it freaking out. I was like, if you're going to teach my daughter this is not the place for us. Oh my gosh. Honestly, when's the last time that you saw a monkey turned into a human? Anybody else got any good ones? It's called human error. Brian Todd. Oh my God. I had a girlfriend that you are insane in the membrane. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. I'll tell you. Oh my gosh, you guys are funny as heck tonight. You are on a roll. I love it. But when you think about it, how did they amplify this DNA to make it apparently fit the narrative is beyond me without getting any prints on that knife sheath. I mean, if you really thought about it, well, not seen monkeys, but I have seen a man. And your superpower is what? Bro, you win this chat today. It's a dome. Come on, everybody knows it's a dome, Les. We didn't evolve from monkeys? No way. You guys are hilarious. Les, oh my gosh, I'm in a goofy mood. I hear you. Sometimes we just have to laugh at some of the stuff that we've been fed. I truly believe that we were monkeys when I was young. Oh, Dina, you are so forgiven. People are now using the term Idaho axe. Oh, that is a great one. Okay, so if you think about it, and that is when Anne always says, well, Your Honor, they amplified it. Don't you know how DNA works? I don't think he actually knows how it works. But the company they used was Applied Biosystems. Very interesting company, by the way. So I guess this company is either third party with the other company, Othram, or a direct company, because the date of this actual report was pretty interesting in itself. So the date on this was November 22nd. So whoever they used for this lab, and they used Applied Biosystems, the reference for all these genetic DNA markers, I mean, just for an example, I'll throw this up on the board so you can see some of these. They use major genetic markers along with the tooth enamel. That is basically what, and I forgot to say this, that is basically what that genome marker is. Ugh, can't say it. You guys are making me laugh so much. All right. So the DNA is actually from tooth enamel. Okay. And now I don't understand. It's a protein involved in tooth enamel formation. So, it's two alleles. Everybody has two alleles, and they differ in size. DNA testing can tell if both of them are present or not present. And that's how they build. It's built into most forensic DNA kits, like STR kits. There's 3 on the market that are Global Filer, Identifiler, and PowerPlex. Those are the 3 that they use. And it can tell DNA at its peak, if it's male, female, X, and a mixture of both in various proportions, which is very rare, but it does exist. And so some males naturally lack this, and so that's called the dropout, the Y chromosome. So if they have a low little tiny bit of DNA on there, they can actually trace it. And if they said it was male, then they had enough DNA. So I know when they get into it and they say Othram had a lot of DNA to go by, they probably did, because they identified it as a male, but not necessarily Brian. Not necessarily his, because they amplified it over and over again. And I wonder, in my humble opinion, I wonder, with what I know and with what I've seen, I wonder 100% that they knew it was male, but they couldn't say it was his specifically. And the unknown male is the one that they're looking for. That there were 3 CODIS hits, but why were they ruled out? Why did they not go get those 3? Did they go talk to those 3? And if those 3 were anywhere DNA in that house, why were they not arrested? Why were they not questioned? Why did they not put that into a PCA, into a grand jury on those other individuals that hit CODIS? And how did their DNA get there? That's the one I want to know. That's the one that matters. So, these DNA markers that you see right here, like the D3S1358, those are just short tandem repeat on chromosome 3. Everybody has 2 alleles in your body, one from your mom, one from your dad. So genetic, obviously, it's they're just codes for certain things that happen in your body. And I'm trying to explain it very, very easy. And some of these are huge to determine what kind of possibly health issues you may or may not have based on genetics, because you pass that down mother through father, etc. So, some of the things that I talk about are kind of off the wall, some things that, I'm not going by the narrative. I'm trying to keep it light, and I'm trying to tell you that the genome testing that they did, in my humble opinion, was not legit. If they truly had the DNA of the suspect and it mapped into CODIS, where are those individuals that it mapped to? I mean, they redacted it out, blocked it out. There's big X blocks. You don't see them. And it doesn't fit this timeline. So when did this crime actually happen? Timeline is important in the DNA, because the story that we've been fed is this is Brian Kohberger's DNA. Period. And for a fact that we've been fed a line of BS when they do a post conference and say they cannot connect him to this. They tried really hard to connect him. I agree the genome testing was not legit. It was done too quickly. They did it on the 22nd. I think they had to come up with someone. I think they knew by the 22nd that who was involved. I really do. Plot twist. Do I have a plot twist? I can go back right to my little chart that I made a long time ago. If you guys remember this fancy little chart, these were the people that they were looking at who, in fact, were mentioned, involved, victim, or witness. Right there. Victims, involved, mentioned, and witness. And I think this document inside the Moscow Police Department tells us the real story. Now, I don't know why they stopped looking in Boise, because we do know that that's where eventually this investigation took them. And all of a sudden, they did a 360. Total 100% 360, look the other way, had to figure out who they were going to take as the patsy or the fall guy, in my humble opinion, because we know every single step of the way, Ann Taylor fought for Brian Kohberger's factual innocence. Now, one thing that I found very interesting, I'm going to share with you real quick before we go today. Have you guys heard, and now I've been following this for a little while, a long while actually. Have you guys heard about Garth Brooks? Have you guys heard about this story? Listen to this. Hold on. Let me get the audio.
There's a girl that is going to college. She's on her way back to college. She stops at a rest stop. Now, Richard said he doesn't know if they were at the rest stop, but she drives and she pulls over and stops at the rest stop. She gets something to eat at the convenience store. She goes back to her car. Witnesses tell the police that they specifically saw her speaking with a guy that was connected somehow. Either they said either the driver or somehow connected with a group of semis. They saw her talking with this person, and then she disappeared. Her vehicle remained there. the description that was given of the man that she was speaking to was 6 foot tall, in his early 30s, with dark brown hair. That fits Garth to a T. From 40 feet away, 50 feet away, in the middle of a parking lot. So what happens is her mother, the following day, she never gets a phone call from her daughter. She never showed up at the university. She calls the, I don't know if it was, I'm not sure which highway patrol. She calls them. They go there. They immediately find her vehicle. They find her vehicle. That's when they question the witnesses. They look for her. They can't find her. About a week later, her body is found on a separate interstate in another state that is on the route of Garth's tour at a third location. So he had to travel this road where he may have stopped at the rest stop, may have picked her up, plays a concert tour, goes to another concert tour, and then goes to the third concert. And during the course of going there on the interstate, the body is found, just discarded right off the side of the road.
Okay, so a little bit backstory behind this, guys, and I have to just give a disclaimer.
We're like Lizzo. We're like Lizzo. When she posts a picture of herself, all 800 pounds, and she's like,
Okay. Sorry, I had to throw in a disclaimer there. The story behind Garth Brooks' murder conspiracy is a mix, obviously, of internet speculation, social media jokes, and baseless theories. It all began with a joke on the Your Mom's House podcast. And, the host joked about Garth Brooks being a sociopath and possibly a serial killer. And his fans kept asking, where are the bodies, G? And the conspiracy gained traction as people connected to Brooks' tour dates and missing persons reports. However, obviously these claims are largely based on coincidence, no solid proof. Legal experts have dismissed these rumors, and they say that they are unfounded, and Garth Brooks has not been linked to any murder cases. But the conspiracy seems to have originated from a joke to debunk various sources. They've already debunked this, but that is coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences, but even though this story is out there, social media, internet, etc., just like Brian Kohberger, they already have people and they already convinced people that he was the murderer, just like they are trying to say Garth Brooks is, because he has bushy eyebrows, or because of this, or because of that, or he was in the area. That is totally unfounded. Now, here's what I find really odd. What if the guy is following Garth Brooks' tour, doing this to make it look like Garth is doing this? Now, wouldn't be that easy? That would be some scary stuff. Okay? That would be some scary stuff. Imagine this happening to Brian Kohberger. Imagining someone set him up. Oh, is that even possible? It could be possible, but then again, ouch. It could be someone else that has the real story. I guess we'll just have to wait to see what happens tomorrow on Phoenix Talks, where things can get a little spicy around here because we are very open-minded, we are very curious, and we think with open minds, because every question matters, every angle matters, and nothing is off limits. Even the funny jokes that we had tonight, guys. If this is you, you found your home. Welcome home. We might get a little spicy, we might get a little mean, but we are always honest. So leave a lot of love in the chat for the mods tonight. I really appreciate every single one of you that have spent your time with me the last hour and 40 minutes. I'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and hit the thumbs up button on the way out. Love you all. Be well.
Listen close, we rise up from the ashes, digging for the truth, breaking old habits. We marching with the nesters, they laid the foundation, passed down revelation, sparked our motivation in a world of facades. We peeling back the layers. Truth is the weapon that cuts through all the fakers. Phonets in our chest, reborn from deception. Eyes wide open, no room for misdirection. Every step we take, we honor the connection between past and present, forging our resurrection. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently, we'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. We cultivate vision, planting seeds of awareness, challenge the narrative, break out of the harness, digging deep for knowledge, unearthing the hidden. Our minds are the soil where the future is written, no longer confined by the scripts they prescribe. We write our own story, let the real one subscribe. One voice becomes many, together we rally. Freedom's not a concept, it's a move and a tally. By case, we break the cage. Thought by thought, we shift the stage. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently. We'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. Rise up, speak out, watch the new world breathe.